Deo, Deo, daylight come and me want go home. Me say de, me say de, me say de, me say de, me say de.
So now we both took our own paths. I left to Nepal to do a trek that Your Highness had told me about. This trek was in the east of Nepal and not very popular. The only thing I knew at that moment is that joining people for the sake of feeling less lonely would only make me feel more alone. So I took to Nepal suddenly, without much planning, just knowing I had to get to a town called Tapleju, which was the town where the trek started. Once I got there, after some crazy traveling, I seemed to be the only tourist in the town, and nobody wants to help me with the indications on how to do it, or even where to start, since I didn't want to get a guide, but just a map or some indications, something to guide me. As always, I continued to be very stubborn about going alone and the insane price that they're asking for just some help. So I decided to just print some crappy maps from the internet and leave it to destiny. I'll believe everything will be alright. I was in a bit of a rush, since I had 15-day visa for Nepal, and I wanted to do a 3-day Vipassana in Kathmandu at the end of it. So I start my trek, only knowing which is my next town destination, where I will find my refugee. That you pay $5 and they give you amazing dinner, bed, and in the morning breakfast. These are called tea houses. It's like a Nepali family that have extra rooms and create these sort of tea houses where they're refugee trekkers. Anyway, on my first day, when I finally arrived to the tea house, I encounter a couple that are from Sweden and are in their 60s. And every year they do a trek in honor of their son, who was a mountain expeditioner and had got lost in one of his expeditions in Pakistan. These are the only Westerners I encounter in the whole trek. They had a whole crew with them, a guide, porters, cook, and everything. When I speak to the guide to get some information about the trek, since I felt a bit lost, he's friendly enough to help me out and give me advice. Thank God. He also tells me about this permit that you need to get before starting the trek, and I didn't know anything about. Of course, I didn't have it, and it might cause me some trouble with the police that is in the mountains. I decide to ignore this fact and continue my journey. Every day, for some reason, I decide to walk 10 to 15 hours. In the end, I do a trek of 10 days in 6 days. I don't know what got into me. Other than knowing the name of the towns, in every village I pass, I try to ask if I'm going on the right way, just in case. In these encounters, the word that I finally learned in Nepalese is ekle, which means alone. This word I learned through them, because every time I stopped in the place, it would go ekle, and I would be ekle when I finally discovered what the word was. And then they would ask me, no friends? And I would go, no friends. And then they would ask, nobody likes you? And I would go, no, nobody likes me. And then finally I got the directions. The third or the fourth day, I woke up, and the landlord of the tea house, she's laughing so much when she sees me, and grinning. I finally ask her, what is going on? And try to understand. Apparently the police had been looking for me, and she found funny to lie to them and say I was not there. She even asked for money for that fact. I was like, I don't want this. I didn't want this to happen. Brilliantly, this makes it much more exciting. I continue my trek, and by now trying not to encounter the police, since they're gonna think I was lying to them. One of the days, I over-risk it, and I decide to walk too much. When the sun goes, I decide it's time to find a place to sleep, since I haven't found the next tea house, which was probably 4 hours away, and I didn't feel like walking at night. From there, I decided it's time to find a place to sleep, which is under a roof of a cottage half made, just next to a waterfall. My love to nature and the mountain is so big, I don't really care. And there I was, with all my clothes on a yoga mat and a cashmere blanket. I slept like a baby. The last day, when I finished my trek and I'm returning, my whole body is aching. I probably had an insulation and was full of blisters. Amazingly, at night, when I'm putting myself to bed, I start to put cold towels on my head to calm my headache. I was absolutely loving the feeling and everything around it. I was able to feel my whole body pumping. In the back of my head, I knew I was missing so much the feeling I had when I was with Your Highness. That feeling my whole body was just to cover the pain I was feeling elsewhere and have some control over me. Admitting that was so hard, and following my stupid decisions, I decided that was evolution. And by the way, the police never found me.
Daylight come and me want go home. Me said day, me said day, me said day, me said day, me said day.